Good evening and welcome to another edition of the HGP Sports for today, the 8th of July. I am Stanford Howard. Thanks for joining us. Making the headlines this evening in athletics, Ghana dominating in the men's 100 meter, Trinidad in the 40, and Guyana pipping Trinidad in the men's 200 meter final were just some of the highlights at this year's exciting Allen Pompey Invitational Meet on Saturday. Jaden Samuels was there and filed this report.
Despite the lingering and heavy clouds and of course the GPL power outage in the heart of the men's 1500 meter final, the fourth Allen Pompey Invitational Meet did not disappoint, and neither did the locals, as fans soaked in the performances put together by the home and international athletes. Creating much noise was the men's 400 meters, where Guyana's Arins Chance pipped Trinidad's Dion Lindor to secure his second fastest time this year in 46.12 seconds.
Set.
Following the race, Chance reminded that hard work continues to pay great dividends for him. Meanwhile, Trinidad needed a few moments to come to grips with the situation.
Would you jot this down as one of your most competitive races?
I mean, it definitely was up there with like in the top 5 for me for the season so far. But once again, I just got to give God thanks for giving me the opportunity to come out successful. Every race that I go into, whether I win or whether I lose, is a hard race. I've never been in an easy race. But knowing that Dion Lindor, who is a professional athlete, he's done tremendous things in the world scene. Beating him at home was definitely something on my to-do list. And I'm just happy that I was able to come away with the win.
The men's 100-meter final was just as good, being dominated in quick time by Ghana's Joseph Amoah, setting a new meet record of 10.20 seconds, ahead of Guyana's Emmanuel Archibald in 10.33, followed by Winston George in 10.40 seconds.
This looked very easy. What is it that you had to eat before? Do you have a Guyanese breakfast today?
Yeah, I got a Guyanese breakfast. I had some, they call it egg bread, French toast. Yeah, so that's what I ate. And I had some juice, papaya juice. Yeah, that's what I had before coming here, so it was good.
Is this your first time competing here? How was it?
You said what?
Is this your first time competing here in Guyana? How was it?
I mean, I like the place, I like the people, everyone is friendly, and I just wanted to come out here, have fun, run fast, and help the others to also qualify for the World Champs.
Devon Barrington also looked spectacular, dominating in the men's 800-meter race, a race that was well-paced, even though he only controlled the final stretch, blazing past Anfer Hector, who thought it was his race after controlling most of it, until Barrington intervened. Barrington recorded his personal best 1:50 seconds, while Hector 1:52. Speaking with HGP Sport as it relates to the meet as it is now and the next 5 years, the brainchild of the event, Allen Pompey, had this to say.
We could never do enough, right? There's always room for improvement. But you're right, there were times when it was myself or just me, or it was me and Marianne Burnett. Occasionally there would be another person, but you know, I feel a twang of jealousy that we're sending, you know, a full team over to the Pan American Games later this year, but a tremendous amount of pride because we now not only have a big team, but we have a platform where they can perform for the Guyanese fans and the Guyanese crowds at home. And I can't say enough how meaningful that is, because it was very meaningful for me to be able to compete in Guyana the one time that I was able to do so before I retired. And I put it out there, I said the one thing I want to do before I retire is compete in Guyana. I was able to do that. So part of the birthing of this event is to be able to do that, bring Guyana's best against the world's best here. And from what we saw today, we have a lot of talent.
Jaden Samuels, HGP Sport.
Jefford's Track and Field Classic 10, set for Sunday, August 11th at the Mackenzie Sports Club, is set to be bigger and better this year. More in this report.
Jefford's Track and Field event, which in the past has brought athletes from across the country to the Mackenzie Sports Club, is celebrating 10 years in existence. The event has hosted several of the region's most popular athletes in Guyana, including Alan Pompey, Marion Barnett, Winston George, and Brunessa Thompson. In a press conference held on Monday, founder of the classic EDISON, JEFFORD, touched on the background of the championships and some of the new plans in place for this year's championship.
Grown over the years to arguably become Guyana's biggest track and field event, second to the National Schools Championship. I think what we have on offer this year will be very attractive to the athletes, as opposed to giving the prizes, the cash prizes, to the clubs. This year we have decided to give that $2 million directly to the athletes, so that each event carries a cash prize of $160,000.
Jeffords explained that this time around the winners of each race will receive 40,000 Guyana dollars, with second place gaining $25,000 and third place $15,000, along with specialty made memorabilia. Speaking also at the event was the Director of Sports, Christopher Jones, who said that the National Sports Commission is excited to be a part of the Classic once more. And also he had noted that this has helped to provide guidance to the government in terms of placing the track in the administrative region.
These provide an opportunity in which the athletes out of Region 10 have an opportunity to compete. And as such, we were able to scout a lot of the talents that we saw went on to represent Guyana regionally and internationally. And the Jeffers Classic played a major role in doing so. We will continue to lend support to the event because we recognize, as mentioned before, it provides an opportunity in which the athletes have an opportunity to compete, and of course there are monetary incentives for them. We will continue to lend support the same.
Mark Scott, Technical Director of the Jeffords Track and Field Classic, spoke on the preparation aspect of the event.
All clubs that are affiliated to the Athletic Association of Guyana have received their package concerning invitation towards the event. On Wednesday, we will make a trip to Linden to have a first look at the ground, what has to be done here, and from there we will take. So far, I've contacted, we are using the officials in Linden and have the names already for the officials for the day.
HGP Sport, I am Stanford Howard.
Samuel Gillis tells us now it was an exciting galore at the National Gymnasium on Sunday night as boxers participated in another successful GABA's Andrew Lewis Novice Boxing Championship.
On the final night of the Guyana Boxing Association's Andre Lewis Novices Boxing Championship, fighters were in heat and mighty punches were landed. In the middleweight category from GDF, Neil Warden won against Kristen McAllister. Neil said that it was a tough fight against his workmates, and although they are colleagues, they fought like strangers in the ring. Here is a look at some of the punches they were landing. Neil spoke with Nightly News on the sidelines after his win. In the fight with Jermaine Jones against Orwin Osborne of GDF, referee Lawrence Asana stopped the fight after a few strategic and well-placed punches were landed on the body of Orwin Osborne, who choked up in a corner. The referee explained why he stopped the fight.
I would have given them stern warning because I know they are from the same gym and they tend to go in and play. So that is advantage, and from the get-go was landing some very hard shots and they were connecting on the scoring area.
so he could not withstand it.
Then it was Jamal Azel versus Darren France, who came up against each other in one of the most exciting matchups of the night. Punches were going back and forth, and it was obvious that both men suffered from fatigue, but did not fall to the canvas as they stood and fought, with passion raging. Though Darren France was the shorter fighter, he did not back down, but the reach of Azel was more than he could bear. Azel's height and punches were labeled to be the best ones in this matchup. Other fights of the night saw Dennis Yorick from GDF losing to Azimol Lewis from GDF. In the elite flyweight category, bantamweight group, Jermaine Grant triumphed over Kirk Williams. And in welterweight, Tamar Foster lost to Charmaine Haley from FYF. For HGP Sport, I am Samuel Gillis.
Switching gears to cycling, Michael Anthony rode his way to the 9th annual Malta Supreme Road Race, while Shaquan Hubbard copped the veterans on the 50th prize at the National Park at the weekend. More in this report.
The National Park came alive once more in the outer ring for the 9th edition of the Supreme 11th Stage Cycle Race. There was some stiff competition in the various categories, but Stephen Bisham from Quarantine Burnley surprised the top in the junior category, taking 2 wins on the result on Saturday, winning the 12 to 14 boys 3-lap category in a time of 5 minutes 15 seconds, with Shorin Sampson coming in second, while Mark Lewis came in third. The juvenile 10 laps finished in a time of 25 minutes 51 seconds, with a repeat position from the boys 12 to 14 boys 3-lap category. The day belonged to the Linden-born cyclist Michael Anthony, who led the pack for the first few laps, but despite overcast conditions at the National Park, switched gears during the 35 lap to outride the packed field of some of Guyana's best riders to finish with a time of 1 hour, 20 minutes and 55 seconds. Walter Grandstrode came in fourth and set the tone in the middle laps, but Christopher Griffith managed to cop third position. Cameron Moses rode in fifth position, while Alex Mendes came in sixth position in the senior category. Here is Michael Anthony talking to media representatives after the race.
I mean, today was a short one, 35 laps, approximately about 32 miles. So more than speed rather than endurance. I just came, as a form of training, so to test my speed out a little bit.
While the veterans over 50 class saw Kennard Lovell taking first place in the 5-lap event in a time of 25 minutes and 51 seconds, while Andrew Spencer rode in second place and Lyndon Blackman came in third. Lennox Jackman won the BMX Boys 69 years 2-lap category. For HGP Sport, I am Stanford Howard.
Finally, in cricket, the World Cup continues on Tuesday. New Zealand take on India in the first semi-final in Manchester. Who will be going home? Jaden Samuels, tell us more.
In cricket news, India might be the favourites going into the first semi-final, but statistics show that India and New Zealand have had 8 scheduled World Cup matches between them, with New Zealand leading 4-3 with 1 abandoned match. On the individual side of the coin, Virat Kohli and Kane Williamson led their sides at the Under-19 World Cup in 2008, with India defeating New Zealand in the semi-finals as Kohli scored 43 and also took 2 wickets, including that of Williamson, winning the World Cup for India. But this time, it's the real deal. India will go into Tuesday's semi-final with the strength of Rohit Sharma, who is just 27 runs away from the biggest World Cup record. Last month, fixture between India and New Zealand was abandoned. However, South Africa's 10-run win against Australia on Saturday took Virat Kohli's men to the top of the table to set up this clash against the 4th place Black Caps. Australia will play England on July 11. Jaden Samuels, HGP Sport.
And that's all we have for this edition of the HGP Sportscast. But do remember, the harder the battle, the sweeter the victory. I do bid you farewell. Over to you, Handel.